bienvenue, welcome back, my marvelous fandom friends. Let me tell you why I refuse to watch the new live-action Resident Evil show. The biggest reason being that it's not Resident Evil. It's a show that sort of makes vague references to the Resident Evil world and characters, but slaps the Resident Evil brand on it to attract fans. I've read the news, I've seen the clips, I've read the reviews, and it is not gonna happen. I am not going to watch it, I won't subject myself to it. Which, by all accounts, this show could have been half decent if they had just tried to be original with it, but unfortunately, original just isn't in. You need to be so derivative and repetitive these days, and Hollywood is just stale. I'll be the first to admit that most of the movies and the TV shows that I watch are not Western cinema. I find that other countries are being a lot more experimental and creative. The storylines are more fresh and exciting, and people are trying to create new experiences that we haven't really gotten to see yet. This market of nostalgia in North America is almost toxic because it's not allowing new up-and-comers to show off their talents. Either you bow to the whims and the will of the elites, or you're not going to get the time of day from a gopher. In essence, creativity is stalled. I'll admit that I do want to watch the somewhat new Resident Evil movie. It's in my queue, it's on my list, I keep meaning to watch it, but I keep finding more interesting things that I want to watch instead. Same with the Batman. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Resi fan. I have all of the games, some in multiple forms, and I'm really down for a gritty detective Batman because that's always been an aspect of the character that I felt the movies lacked. We're stuck in a loop, one that nobody seems to have the guts to break. It's an era of remakes, reboots, and reiterations. I think the most egregious crime, though, is that a lot of the writers and creators that are now making these movies and TV shows for already established, well-loved fandom universes aren't reading the source material. They aren't looking at the world that already exists, that the fans already love, and they're proud of it. They're trying to capitalize on the recognition that fandom brings, like Resident Evil, except they're completely ignoring the history and rules of that world. It's like a writer who says very proudly that they don't really read, which is unfortunately becoming all that more common. I remember studying movies from the 80s in university and how a lot of the new up-and-coming directors actually got a chance to go out and be creative and experiment. And that's how we got a lot of the classics that we love now and still obsess over, like Star Wars and Jaws. Except now those creators have sort of become the gatekeepers of pop culture. We're stuck in the nostalgia that just limits creativity. Because if something is new and different, then it's dangerous, because there's always that chance that there lacks profitability. Except they can't even really use that excuse anymore, because we're becoming more and more aware of the crap that's being reduced, reused, and recycled. It's why I stopped watching Marvel a few dozen movies ago. I haven't seen the latest Star Wars movies, and I'm stalling on things that I'm actually kind of interested in. You'd think they would have learned their lesson by now, especially with the giant flopping failures that they've had, like the Percy Jackson movies, live-action Avatar, Dragon Ball Z, and the recent Cowboy Bebop live-action. And now this Resident Evil adjacent crime is masquerading as part of a beloved world. I'm not saying don't make adaptations and sequels. Fans want to see it. These are these universes that we absolutely love and adore, and we want to see the fantasy brought to life. There's a reason why the Harry Potter movies and Lord of the Rings did so well and The Hobbit didn't. And Rogue One is still the best addition to the Star Wars universe, and we don't talk about the others. It's a fine line to walk, and one I don't think I would be able to tread myself, but I'm still not going to watch the new Resident Evil show.